So my name is Kirk Marley with Dovetail Planning, and I want to tell a story about liquidity planning. Some large clients. I have clients in other states. I'm in Oregon right now, and this particular client had a large, it was wholesale and retail business, but largest in the state that they were in. And two brothers got along great, and equal partnership and a taxable estate. So, you know, I think back then it was 5 million per person. And so each of them had more than 5 million in assets. And so what the problem was is we were trying to look at some ways to fund a liquidity event. The liquidity event would happen when one of the brothers passes, and then that estate had a federally taxable estate. And then they would have to come up with some liquidity to pay those taxes, and those taxes are due in 9 months. There are some exceptions to that, but generally your estate taxes federally are due in 9 months, and probably also state, depending on which state you're in. And so the issue is that when you have a business, and that's business stock ownership is the majority of the assets that comprise your taxable estate, how do you raise any money to pay those taxes inside of 9 months? The only option, or the only viable option, is without using life insurance, is to take your shares and have a properly drafted buy-sell agreement and have the surviving partner buy those shares and make them liquid. Now that partner owns those shares, and your estate has that value of those assets in liquidity. But that puts a lot of pressure. If that really is your strategy, that puts a lot of pressure on the surviving partner. Are they going to be able to pony up $5, $6, $7, $10 million in cash, or even to get financed for that amount of money to be able to purchase those shares? Because an agreement over a long period of time doesn't solve the problem. You know, in buy-sell agreements, you can have terms that are 25% down and 10-year amortization, and then, whatever the AFR is for the federal rate, whatever, for the interest charge on that agreement. But if it's only 25% down and you need more than that to pay your taxes, then you're still in trouble. So what we did with these particular guys is we made sure that there was a buy-sell agreement that was funded with life insurance, and it wasn't even necessarily used for the transition per se. We used that life insurance to make sure that we had liquidity inside the estate to pay those taxes. Now, there are other ways of dealing with that. There's other things, even besides life insurance, you could use to deal with liquidity events. But when you're a traditional business owner, you might have a nice house, you might have a rental property or two, but generally the bulk of your estate assets is the stock in your company. And so looking at that, especially when you have a taxable estate or could be flowing into that taxable estate arena, is really important when you're talking about making sure that the surviving partner is not in deep trouble, and that there's not a liquidation that the surviving partner can't afford, and that therefore goes to an adverse party. Because because of first right of refusal, the surviving partner will have the first right to buy it. If he can't do it, the executor of that state, or the trustee, depending on how that transition, they have the right to sell that somewhere else. They have to be able to sell that somewhere else. And it can be an adverse party coming in to own part of your business if you as a surviving partner don't have the ability to buy that. So having someone talk through those exposures and those risks is important, and that's one thing that Dovetail will do for you if you're a business owner who has potentially a taxable estate, either state or federal.